Admiral Zexathara had witnessed the birth and death of 14 star systems in her 3 centuries of service to the Galactic Confederation. She had commanded fleets that could glass entire worlds, overseen the construction of dreadnoughts the size of moons, and negotiated peace treaties that ended wars spanning multiple sectors. Nothing, absolutely nothing, had prepared her for the sight of humanity's first prototype warship. The Defiance hung in the void like a predator made manifest, its angular hull bristling with weapon systems that seemed to grow from the ship itself, rather than being mounted upon it. Where other species built their warships with graceful curves and elegant lines that spoke of millennia of refined engineering, the humans had crafted something that looked like it had been torn from the nightmare of some ancient god of war. "It doesn't follow any known design principles," muttered Commander Veltar, the Confederation's chief naval architect. His 4 eyes tracked across the holographic displays, showing the human vessel from every conceivable angle. The power distribution should be impossible. The structural integrity should collapse under that configuration. And those weapons, he trailed off, his translator struggling to convey the mixture of fascination and horror in his voice. The humans had been part of the Galactic Confederation for barely 50 standard years, newcomers by any measure. They had arrived in ships that were crude by galactic standards, held together with what they cheerfully called duct tape and hope. The other species had welcomed them with the patient condescension reserved for primitive civilizations that showed promise but would need centuries to catch up. That patronizing attitude had begun to shift when humanity's first scientific papers started circulating. Their approach to problem-solving was unconventional. Where the Zephyrians would spend decades running simulations to perfect a design, humans would build a prototype, test it to destruction, learn from the failure, and build another. Where the crystalline collective would craft elegant solutions that lasted for millennia, humans created brutal, efficient fixes that worked well enough and could be implemented immediately. They call it iterative engineering, Admiral Zexathara had told the Confederation Council during one of many sessions dedicated to humanity's rapid technological advancement. They don't wait for perfection. They pursue adequacy with frightening determination. The Defiance represented humanity's first serious attempt at building a warship according to their own design philosophy, rather than mimicking existing Confederation vessels. The project had been met with skepticism, then growing unease as reports filtered back from the construction yards orbiting Earth's moon. The humans weren't building a ship. They were building a weapon that happened to be ship-shaped. Every system had been designed with a single purpose: to destroy the enemy as efficiently and brutally as possible. The engines didn't just provide propulsion, they could be overcharged to create devastating plasma streams. The armor wasn't just protective, it was designed to fragment in specific ways that would turn the ship itself into a massive fragmentation weapon. Even the life support systems doubled as psychological warfare tools, capable of broadcasting human war songs across all communication frequencies. "Admiral," came the voice of Captain Sarah Chen, the Defiance's commanding officer. Her image appeared on the bridge's main screen, and Zexathara noted with interest that the human looked completely at ease, surrounded by her ship's weapon-festooned command center. "Confederation fleet, thank you for witnessing our shakedown cruise. We're ready to begin the demonstration." The target was a decommissioned Thraxian heavy cruiser, a massive vessel that had once been considered the pinnacle of military engineering. Its neutronium armor could withstand the combined firepower of an entire battle group. Its shields could deflect stellar radiation. It was, by all accounts, indestructible. "Beginning approach," Captain Chen announced with what Zexathara recognized as distinctly human casualness in the face of potential annihilation. The Defiance moved unlike any warship in known space. It didn't glide through the vacuum with the stately grace expected of such vessels. Instead, it pounced, its engines firing in sharp, aggressive bursts that sent it careening toward the target in an erratic pattern that would have been impossible to predict or counter. "Weapons hot," came Chen's voice. "Firing solution locked. Confederation fleet, you might want to increase your distance." Admiral Zexathara was about to ask why when the Defiance opened fire. The universe screamed. What emerged from humanity's prototype warship wasn't energy beams or plasma bolts or any of the conventional weapons known to galactic civilization. It was something that shouldn't have existed, a controlled singularity wrapped in exotic matter and accelerated to 97% of light speed. The projectile struck the decommissioned cruiser and reality simply stopped making sense in that region of space. The neutronium armor that had withstood the test of time twisted into impossible shapes before being pulled into a point of absolute darkness. The ship's massive bulk followed, stretching and distorting as it was consumed by artificial gravity so intense that it bent light around itself. Within 3 seconds, 15 kilometers of Thraxian heavy cruiser had been reduced to a slowly evaporating point of light that hurt to look at directly. The silence that followed was broken only by Captain Chen's matter-of-fact voice. "Target eliminated. Weapon systems nominal. Ready for next engagement." Admiral Zexithara stared at the empty space where a ship had been. In 3 centuries of military service, she had never seen anything so casually apocalyptic. "How?" whispered Commander Veltar, his voice barely audible. Captain Chen's image smiled with what Zexithara was beginning to understand was characteristic: human modesty. "Oh, that? We just figured out how to make black holes portable. Took the physics department about 6 months. The hard part was keeping them stable long enough to aim." The communication channel closed, leaving the Confederation fleet alone with the implications of what they had witnessed. In the days that followed, word spread through the galaxy's communication networks faster than light itself. The whispers grew into rumors, the rumors into legends. Humanity, the galaxy's newest members, had built a ship that could delete other ships from existence with casual efficiency. The galactic arms market collapsed overnight. Defense contractors across 17 systems filed for bankruptcy. The Thraxian Empire, renowned for their military might, quietly began sending diplomatic envoys to Earth. And in the deepest, darkest corners of space, where pirates and raiders had once planned their next targets, a new rule emerged: avoid the Sol system at all costs. Admiral Zexithara submitted her report to the Confederation Council with trembling appendages. Her conclusion was simple: humanity had just announced to the galaxy that they were not to be underestimated. The galaxy, it seemed, was finally beginning to listen.